Houston's won 13 straight. I would think defense has got a lot to do with it. Is there something about their defense that sets them apart?
Yeah, defensively, I mean, they're just well connected. They're very aggressive. They actually tonight were less aggressive in trapping ball screens because they wanted to switch a little bit more, just to take away some of our pick and pops that Amani had hurt them at their place with. So, but they do a great job. They really load to the ball. It's hard to really crack them, and it's not many teams have. And I thought at times tonight. We did get some good looks, some good opportunities, especially in the second half. I thought our movement was a lot better. We were able to get some post touches and things that lived in the paint a little bit more, which is a lot of times hard to do against them. So, second half, I thought, again, offensively we did enough, and even defensively, until late we just ran out of gas. But I thought we did enough. It was just that first half was just too much.
How detrimental was the free throw shooting when you're trying to play catch up? You missed, I think, 3 front ends of the one-on-ones.
Yeah, those are tough. I mean, it's big parts of the game. I know. I think we had one when we were down 5, maybe another when we were down 6, and both front ends. So those are tough because you're right there. You just need to get it to a 1-possession game. And then it seemed like they'd go down and get an offensive rebound 3 after the missed free throw. So, that's they've won a lot of games together, and that shows. On nights like this, on nights like they just had at Kansas, like they're just so resilient and tough with things that you can't afford to not capitalize on those opportunities when you're giving them. And those front ends certainly were a big part tonight.
Coach, you guys have always obviously proven you can beat anybody, but does this loss, because they're a top 10 team, feel any way different than the other 2 recent ones, since those teams were struggling going into the matchup?
No, I mean, the first half felt like our last 2 games, to be honest with you. Like, we just haven't played with the same spirit that we had, prior to that. I thought the second half was like, if we'll get back to that and do that for a full 40 minutes, we're going to be right there where we need to be to win games down the stretch. And like I've told the guys, it's a long season. Like it's tough. It's a grind, and we still got 11 games left. So there's lots of opportunities out there to go win games, and they've put themselves in a good position to survive a stretch like this where you go through a 3-game losing streak. But at some point you got to put the brakes on, and we got to get back on the other side of that column. And every night there's an opportunity going forward where it's a quad 1, quad 2 type game, and we got to win our share of those.
That moral victories are something that you want to focus on, but is there something that you can maybe feel the second half that changed that gives you maybe something to look forward to moving forward?
Yeah, the good part about the second half, the outcomes, that's not what we wanted. But the good part about the second half is they felt it again. They felt what that was like in terms of how do we play at a high level, and what does that mean? What does it look like? And it's funny in basketball sometimes those swings can happen so fast. You can go from winning at home against Iowa State to losing a couple, and your confidence level can be shaken that quickly. And that's where you have to really fight it as a coaching staff, as a team, to make sure you stay together and don't let losses start to impact the next game. And that's the thing that I hope we can grab onto. I told them to leave this building tonight only focused on what it looked like and felt like in that second half, and make that their mindset again and approach as we go into practice and get ready for Cincinnati. Because that team in that 15-minute stretch will take anywhere, because they'll go compete and line up and go do some things that can be pretty special.
How much did Sincere Harris play a part in that second half? It seems like the team is really feeding off his energy. They've done that a couple times this year.
Yeah, I mean, Sincere, when he's really hooked up and into the ball, I mean, he's as good as there is anywhere in the country. And I thought that changed the whole game around to start the second half. We flip-flopped the matchups a little bit because we had him on Cryer, the first half. But we felt coming out of halftime, if we wanted to change kind of the pace, the attitude of this game, we needed Buck on the ball, pressuring full court to give us some life. And I thought he did an unbelievable job with that.
The first time you sat there for the final 12 minutes, and I think twice took him out, didn't seem too happy. Was something? Could you see something wrong? Did he know something was wrong in just the flip of the switch at halftime?
Yeah, there was some moments in that first half that Buck's really good when he's doing what he was doing the second half, and the first half wasn't that same tenacity, and we need him to be. Buck's not a guy that's going to go out and hit 8 threes for you. I mean, that's just not his strength right now. But his strength is to dominate that ball and dictate defensively. And then you could see all of our guys just follow him, and all of a sudden they just fed off of him. And now our whole defense, picked up. And I thought he did the same thing in the second half at Kansas State. Down 24, and he comes out in the second half, and he had a different approach to it and changed the game around again, in a positive way.
Darren, I know you don't like to talk about this, but Kelvin mentioned it. The idea that Javon has been carrying you guys, and he's probably in this league getting a little tired the way teams are defending him, and that your son would have made a big difference having been in there. And could you address that a little bit about how different you are without him in any way?
Yeah, I mean, we're different. It doesn't mean we still, can't be just as good. It's just we have to be different, and that's the biggest thing. When you lose a player like Tucker, obviously the scoring and shooting and things, you got to try to find other ways to do that. And when you put a roster together, you have whether it be Stone and Tucker, they're not out there, so we got to figure out a different way. When you put it together originally, plans got to change when things happen. So that's why we have to be so good on the defensive end for us to be good. And we have plenty of guys in that are suited up and out there playing that can do that. We just got to make sure that we're true to that identity every single night.
How was Javon, and did he come to you, because he was obviously not 100% there, and say, hey, I got to get back in? In terms of Javon, just
I just asked him if he was good. He said, yeah, I'm good. I'm just give me to the 8-minute. It was at like 8:10 for him to come back in. So we'll see how that feels tomorrow.
Coach, obviously, the three-point shooting tonight might come with a little bit of an asterisk because of Houston's defense, but if you kind of look over the stretch of these last 3 games, three-point shot's been a struggle. Do you take that and say, okay, hey, we've got to maybe change things up here and offensively? And I mean, I'm not, your thoughts on the three-point?
Yeah. I mean, I guess we could try punting them in, but I mean, we had, like JP's had a rough week, but he's a really good shooter, so he has to continue to shoot, and his percentages are going to equal out by the end of the year. Unfortunately, he's going through a little shooting slump in these previous, 2 or 3 games here. Imani hasn't shot it as well, so we've just, when you go 4 for 18, you go 4 for 21, you go 4 for 28, that's hard. So even tonight, we tried to put more of an emphasis of getting downhill, getting to the rim, but you still have to have your shooters when they're open, they got to shoot them. Otherwise, you're just going to be driving into people that are waiting for you with 3 guys at the rim. So, I thought JP had some great looks. He's 2 for 8. I want him to take all 8 of those again. And, hopefully on Sunday, that's a 5 for 8, because it will be at some point. It just this week has been really tough shooting the ball.
How much is, go ahead, and how much is rebounding becoming an issue for you now? I mean,
yeah, Houston's one of the best there is in the country. We knew that going into it, and they just, they're relentless at going and getting them, and those plays are really tough, especially when you're trying to make a comeback and you get a great defensive possession, get them to miss, and then they go get it a second one and kick out 3 or whatever. So, like we've said all year, it's a priority of ours. It is every single day. We just got to continue to fight it and limit those as much as possible. And we gave up too many tonight.
Following on the question asked Joseph, are you trying to develop parts of other people's games where they can maybe do something different off when Javon is pushed away from the basket, forced to give the ball up, and is that just a kind of a process thing?
I mean, we, as a staff, we're offensively we're searching to find more ways to get people involved. We don't have like just a low post threat that you can just throw it into every time. We were able to with Amani tonight off of mismatches, but night in, night out, that's probably not to our advantage. But we have to find different ways to get Toby posted. Maybe it's Amani off a switch, find more driving opportunities so we can get downhill and get more of those kick-out threes. Otherwise, you end up playing a lot of windshield wiper offense, and that's hard to score when you get that way. And Javon was so good for such a long period of time. We're riding that as long as we could, but that's gotten more and more difficult as you get deeper into league play and people start to copycat how to defend certain players on your roster, and they're certainly doing that with Javon, and he's done a great job. He's getting doubled and he's getting it out of there. We just got to do a little bit better job of being more efficient on the back end of that.
Have you seen players in the past in your career be able to do that, develop something a little bit different enough to help in that regard?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, sometimes you don't always know every guy's strength until you put him in that position to sink or swim. And Toby's a guy that I thought tonight really did some good things in the second half. He was more aggressive as a straight line driver. He was more aggressive as a post up guy and making plays out of it. I mean, he had 5 assists tonight. That's a career or season high for him here, I believe. So he did a lot of really good things, and we got to continue to do that so we can take some of that stress off of Javon of having to make every play for himself, for others on possessions. And we did a lot of stuff tonight to get Javon off the ball to try to get it back to him, get him on the move a little bit more. Now Houston, they're good defense. They still are able to show another guy out or switch it out to keep him from coming off clean. But we did get those switches because he was going to come off clean or get an open 3, and then that gave us some advantages on the interior. So something to build on, for us as we're continuing to try to find different ways to utilize all the guys that are out there.
This is probably relevant. You might have actually answered my question, but you mentioned that they don't give up a lot of interior baskets. That's not something you all do offensively consistently, but second half, I don't know how much that was a byproduct of maybe a little bit of gun shy on the perimeter or matchups and just the switches there. There's an opening there and go to it because it's something you can use, maybe something you can build onto.
Yeah, no, I thought it was great. The key is that they were switching with Amani and with Toby some. So we thought if we could get it in there on the guard, opportunity to catch and score. We also wanted to post a little bit because they come in double on the post. So we felt like if we could get the double to start to come, now we can take a retreat dribble, get it out of there, and play a numbers game on the backside. So you're playing 4-on-3 over there, and that's where we got a couple of good driving opportunities off of closeouts. Got a couple open threes. Didn't necessarily make as many as we would have liked, but certainly some good possessions in that second half to build on.
Coach, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.